Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's been so long that I forgot how to say channel. I've been quite busy with schoolwork, but today I'm back and I'm in a new room. If you don't see, the lighting is a little subpar, and I'll figure out a way to fix that. I think I need to get a mounted light over here. But for now, we'll have to adjust with the way it is. But to make up for that, I have a brilliant game here for myself against a random loser, as you can see. And I was playing this game just by myself late at night, actually just before I'm filming this, so it's 9:20 when I'm filming this, so that's pretty late for me. So let's just dive straight in. It's a ridiculous game. I'm going to turn off evaluation just for the beginning. Let's dive straight in. I got the black pieces, d4, d5, and bishop f4. This is the London system, and I naturally played the very common move a5. I was, you're when you're in that mood and you play chess like this. That's the mood I was in. Knight to f3, b4. b5. C3, c5. Okay, I was really in this mood. Okay, and now c4. Okay, so now I've completed this small triangle formation, and I'm actually not even sad with my position anymore. b3, and e6, so I just solidify the structure. Knight, bishop, asking for a trade here, so they take castles, and g5. Alright, why g5? Well, I'll show my thinking. I was like, okay, he takes, and I play rook g8. He goes back, and I go knight to c6. And look, suddenly, I'm going to play e5, bishop h3, rook h2, and what the heck is happening to this king? My king's right in the middle, but there's no way for you to attack me in the meanwhile. Or so I thought. So I may mention that this was a more lower rated opponent, so not 1300, closer to 800. So maybe that's why I felt like going on a belligerent attack with no kind of thinking about accuracy. No accuracy here. e5, e4, bishop to h3, knight to h4, takes, knight takes, and now I'm attacking both the queen and the bishop, so there's one way to defend that, and that's by going queen d1. But my opponent played queen c3, which does not only hang the bishop, it also hangs the queen, because after knight takes bishop check, this hits the king and the queen, so this is a fork. My opponent walked right into fork. Okay. And now you're probably thinking, okay, Chess Shrip, I'm glad you forked your opponent's queen and king, but like, why are you showing this game? It's like kind of lame. Just watch. Pawn takes bishop, because now the king has sidestepped the pin of my rook. I forgot to explain. Obviously, the reason bishop h3 was possible here is because the rook is pinning this pawn to the king. So if the pawn ever captures, this rook will just take the king. And since that's not legal, you can't hang your king. In chess, obviously, instead, they hung their queen. Alright, so now they take the bishop, and I castle. I want to get my king out of this line of attack from the rooks. Now, rook comes just where I vacated. My king left, and then the rook came in the action. Queen here. I'm attacking both knights. Only one way to defend. Either this knight or this knight has to come here. They find one of the moves. Now knight takes pawn. Okay, pawn takes pawn, pawn takes pawn. a4, resourceful move, try to break up and then bring the rook back here to attack my king. I closed it with b4, and then here comes the most interesting move. In fact, it is perhaps the move that made me play one of the bossest moves of my life. Rook to e3. And feel free to take a couple of seconds here to figure out what I played. No, it's not the ridiculous computer line, but it is a close second. Rook to d1. And my logic was what happened in the game, which is if they take, checkmate. I know, it's really amazing. So the idea is obviously the rook cuts off the king from escape, and since you can never block a check from a knight, since the knight jumps over any pieces, you can't block a check from the knight, and this knight cannot be captured. So it's check, mate, and also 2 rooks are hanging. Just take that in. 2 rooks are hanging. 2 rooks. Okay, and I just sacked a full rook on d1. Now, let's look at the computer lines. Evaluation. First of all, let's note that the evaluation is going to be completely in white's favor for most of the game because I played a ridiculous opening. Lines. Let's go. Okay, I'm going to skip through most of the opening. Just note that the eval bar is going to 1.7 here for white. Okay, here is 1.5. Okay, I'm just going to check. Okay, here it says 2.3. It does not like my idea of creating an attack because it does not know that my opponent is in 800. All right. Knight to c6. Queen to c2. e5. e4. Bishop to h3. It doesn't like this move. It says that oh, it says bishop. It's debating between 2 moves here, actually. Bishop h3 is actually the best move. Never mind. It just took a while to decide. Okay. Knight a4, knight h4, and now e takes d4. E takes d4. Knight takes d4. Oh, wait. No. Hold up. After e takes d4, it wanted e takes d5, attacking my knight. And now if I take here, then what? Queen c3. Queen c3. Now you're still attacking the knight. Now if takes, this bishop's hanging on the other side of the board. So now that's the issue, is that I have 2 hanging pieces. This knight is hanging, and this bishop is being attacked by this queen, and that's why that's not a good move. At any rate, my opponent took back here, and now knight takes d4, obviously, and then this is not a way to play. Takes, castles. And now let's look carefully at this situation that arises here. Rook e2 is supposedly an okay move because it defends this pawn. So now if I played rook e2 and rook d1, this no longer works because knight takes here is met with a rook takes knight. And this is not checkmate. This is just lost, right? I mean, I'm still up a queen. Okay, so I'm still winning this position, but it's not the same thing. All right, but that's not what happened. Rook to e3, and now it says mate in 5. What's the bossest move? The move I played is a top engine move. How is that? I found a top engine move while playing an 800 in the last 2 to 3 moves of the game. Well, the boss engine line is queen takes e3. And if pawn takes, knight check, rook takes, have you ever seen a checkmate like this? Have you ever seen a checkmate where 2 rooks are stacked right next to each other and they're staring the king in the face? The king is in the corner, backed by his own pawn. Have you ever seen it? And the reason that mine is... Okay, so, well, first of all, it says mate in 5 because it wants this. And now it says rook takes e1, rook takes e1. Nope, it doesn't say that. Rook takes e1. Now it says knight takes e1, so that the rook can remain guarding this pawn. And now it says queen takes f2. And obviously, if takes, then this is checkmate. So now it says knight e f3. You just bring that knight back, so that when this happens, you can block with the knight. And now rook takes d1 is mate. Or queen takes g1. It's mate! That's mate in 5, but who the heck does that? So, in this position, my opponent played rook takes d1, and I checkmated him with a knight fork. Good night, everyone.